What is up with it? Today we are going to be watching a Blackbeard mirror match. This is going to be Ludi Photo versus Impact, actually. Small world. Shoutouts to Ludi Photo for streaming this. I didn't even realize this was Impact, lol. But both, high ranked players who have a lot of experience on Blackbeard. So it'll be really interesting to see how Ludi approaches this match. Gotta go ahead and start with a island from Impact pitching a finger pistol. We'll go ahead and pass after mulliganing. I'm not exactly sure who won the die roll. I'm guessing it's probably Ludi, as I do believe going second is a little preferred in the mirror match. So we're going to go ahead and swing 5, and Ludi's going to take and trigger Ice Age to go ahead and grab the island. Impact's going to go ahead and play out a Vasco shot. We'll go ahead and island to grab a 10 cost teach. We're going to need those, probably a couple of them at least, I would imagine. I know that chaining 10 drops is something that pretty frequently happens in the mirror. I could also be mistaken about who wants to go first and who wants to go second, because the more I think about it, maybe you actually want to go first. Do we want to use this finger pistol to get rid of the Vasco? We have decided yes. Finger pistol being a card that is basically dead in this matchup, not being able to hit Kuzan, not being able to hit Burgess. Speaking of Burgess, we will be the player who is able to successfully get down the first Burgess. Also being able to put down this Lafitte should probably act as a pseudo blocker, as I imagine Impact is not going to want to let us search for, a Kuzan, a Burgess, something like that. We do also have a liberation for our turn if Impact does decide to... Okay, and yep, as I said, the Lafitte acting as a pseudo blocker. Okay, so just walling up with the Kuzan, saying, hey, look, I'm not going to put Burgesses on the board, because you're just going to liberation them, or black hole them, rather. Knowing that Blackbeard is one of the few decks that can out the Burgess, not willing to put it on the board until we need it. So we found a Kuzan of our own. And we are going to use its effect. I'm a little curious as to why. I'm not sure I 100% see the vision of putting the Burgess on the board here. Maybe it's because we just want to have it there sooner, so that way we can really pressure our opponent a little bit quicker, race them a little faster. I suppose that seems reasonable. That way we get to swing, 7 or 8 next turn instead of just 5. We'll go ahead and counter this. And we will go ahead and shed the Kuzan, drawing a card to play our own Burgess. And we're going to go ahead and swing the Kuzan again. We'll block this time. Okay. So deciding that if our opponent wants to try and swing 10 at our Burgess, we don't really care. That would mean they'd only have 3 Dawn. Oh, we're going the Wall of Lafitte. Oh my goodness. Okay, and he found a black hole. So one of these Burgesses is certainly going to be going away, I would imagine. So Impact definitely having an unbelievably strong turn here. Oh, but maybe a small misstep. We now get to bounce one of these Burgesses. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a missequencing from Impact. No real reason to shed those Kuzons when we did. Just playing into the 500 million. If Ludiphoto finds a way to win this game, I have to imagine that's going to be the reason. I have to imagine the fact that we no longer have a Burgess on board that we 100% should have on the board. I have to imagine that will be the game decider. Especially since we have access to so many 10 drops right now. If our opponent wants to get into the 10 drop war, I imagine we'll have enough. Okay, so not electing to join us in the 10 drop war. I wonder if we're going to play another one or if we are going to try and liberation one of these Burgesses. I wouldn't hate liberation on one of the, or black hole rather, on one of the Burgesses instead. We're swinging 5. We're going to go ahead and go Lafitte. Oh, wow, and we found a Burgess. Okay, yeah, this turn is way better than to go ahead and pop one of those, play the Burgess. And then do we elect to swing the 10 drop? That Burgess is pretty big. We might not do it. We are going to do it. Okay. Okay. So we'll see if Impact is able to punish Ludi at all. Okay, and trashing our 10 drop on Impact side, that tells us he has enough of them. He's not worried about that. We're going to go ahead and counter. And are we still going to... Yep, we're still pushing face. Okay. Oh, and we found another liberation. Okay. Okay. So I wonder if we'll once again just try and deal with the Burgess. I feel like Island Pitch Finger Pistol is a good first action here. But no, we have decided that we are in fact going to just play the 10 drop. I guess we're swinging 5 because we're saying, hey, look, if you want to use the blocker here, like, knock yourself out. I'm thrilled if you choose to use the blocker here. It's really none of my concern. If you do use the blocker, perhaps I pivot a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why we're deciding to add the Doc Q over the Burgess. I mean, both are probably going to be dead. But this is looking like Ludiphoto is in a very, very strong position here. Yeah, and Impact's going to go ahead and concede. And honestly, the 600 million, I think, won the game. I think that was the difference maker. Both players being very in step, having a lot of the same options throughout the entire game. But having that 600 million bounce the Burgess, just really, really swung the game. I think that was crazy. I don't think Impact was expecting that. Not many people are on the 600 million currently in OP10. So, you know, really being rewarded in deck building there. Maybe an option to consider for you Blackbeard players at home. I think, honestly, I feel like I'd maybe even try to make room for it. I feel like Blackbeard is a deck that can be very greedy in deck building in a lot of ways. Like even in 09, I really was a fan of Tempest Sky Slicer. These are cards where if you draw them, no big deal. You're going to pitch them to island. You're going to pitch them to leader effect. It doesn't really matter. But when you hit them as a trigger, it really, really warps the game. It really, really puts you at an insane advantage. You know, you're getting lucky, sure, but those sorts of things are just going to happen. So if you can find a way to fit those sorts of cards in your deck list, I think they're really, really strong if you can make room for them. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.